the only one around, or was for a long time, but some of them now are learning stories and tell them it's a whole lot of fun and to dance a 9-10, and I will call a 9-10 tonight. But that's an example of pattern that we use in square dance calls. If you don't use too much pattern, it does make the dance a little bit more exciting. And there's a place to use it, a time to use it, and a place not to use it. Now, if you use too much pattern, then the calls get lost in the pattern. You don't hear the commands. And the square dancers absolutely have to hear the commands. Especially if you're coming together at a place like Augusta, and you're from all walks of life, and you've been doing your square dancing over here and over here and over here and over here, and you're not familiar with the caller, and you're not familiar with the calls, then it's absolutely necessary that the caller speak the command so you can hear it. Now, then the fill-in pattern, there's a time for it. And I'll give you just a little example of that. Now, if I was going to call a figure like do-si-do, for instance, I would never call that figure to a bunch of people that aren't used to dancing that figure the way I call it. Usually the music's loud, and a lot of noise on the floor, people laughing and carrying on. And I would never, call a figure like round and around and around you go, and bring it all up with a new paso, something like that. See, the figure could really get lost in the pattern. So if I was going to call that figure there, I would call that figure and I would say, all right, ladies, do-si-do, round and around and around you go, you see, because it doesn't mean anything then. See, because you've already made the command, and they've heard the command, and they know what to do. See?
Lou, is there any way you could just say your old coon dog pattern? It was a little hard to hear you with the whole band behind you. Could you just repeat your old coon dog pattern?
Okay, now the old coon dog pattern. Now the pattern that I used there was once I had an old coon dog, blind as he could be. And every night at supper time, I believe that dog could see, Then I said, possum up a cinnamon tree and a rabbit on the ground, you see. And the rabbit said, you son of a gun, you swing that big limb round and around and shake them cinnamons down, you see. So that was the pattern that I used there about the coon dog. The other one was, I said, look at those 9 pins in that ring, watch them go, them pretty little things, you see. Then I said, I let them dance a little bit, and I might say, now look at them go, watch them smile, watch them go, now swing a while. You see, so all that pattern has rhymes, and here again, most of the pattern, that I use has an old time theme. And, I mentioned the knockdown sound, the picked up gait. Well, I know what a knockdown sound is and the picked up gait. And
what is a knockdown sound?
I went for a long time before I could get somebody to explain it.
I think Dave answered it for me.
A knockdown sound. I even asked Jimmy, I asked Jimmy Costa, and he knows everything about that all the time. Jimmy couldn't answer that either. But I finally found a guy named Carl Dorsey up at Romney, and he told me what. But a knockdown sow is an old pig that's already dropped her litter, and she's got them with her, you see. So that's a knockdown sow.
Okay.
And a picked up gate, there was lots of those. You had an opening in the fence.
Yeah.
And you didn't have a gate on hinges, you just picked up a gate and you set it there. You blocked the gate. So that's a picked up gate. So,
Drink a sip of water. You've been talking a lot.
I got a question for a moment about the music.
now where was that?
Oh, wait, he's got a question about the music, so
I
he's
got a
going to
question about
ask
the
these guys.
music.
Okay.
Up in New England, we play for country dances. We play a lot of medleys. No medleys, just one tune. Stay with the same tune.
You can get away with it every now and then, but more traditional, just be one tune right on through.
There's some callers that say, no, One tune, that's it.
Well, yeah, you get the control freaks. But West Virginia, the tradition is they don't worry about 64 beats, AABB, and they just get the beat going and they just take off. And
So you don't care much about what kind of music they play as long as they just keep that beat song.
Won't go that far.
Usually I like tunes that I recognize.
Yeah.
I like tunes that I recognize. And now, there's lots and lots of good fiddlers, or people that play the fiddle. I'll put it that way. People that play the fiddle, that play a lot of tunes, but there ain't very many good fiddlers, I'll put it that way, that play good dance tunes and play good music. Now, there's a difference. There's a difference in it. Now, some people call it drive. What do y'all call it? I call it a lick, you see, but most people call it drive.
You call it what you said?
And Bobby, where's Bobby Taylor? I saw him a minute ago. But Bobby Taylor, we were talking about this at noon, and when he plays the fiddle, he always puts a lot of emphasis on the downbeat with his fiddle, so you can always hear that downbeat. The banjo picker does the same thing on that downbeat. You see, you hear that downbeat. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what was the upbeat or the downbeat. You see, and the guitar player's the same way.
Hey Lou, I see some of the people in my class. We talk about that shuffle we did in class. See it hitting that beat, and that other lick, the lilt kind of thing. It's accenting the offbeat, so you got the beat. Not real good for square dance, but that other one really accents the beat, and that's the more common dance rhythm for the bow.
And to talk about like team selection, I find that around here it is like we kind of play the hits. Like Old Joe Clark would be a good one.
Exactly.
Like the obscure stuff. That's not the time and the place for it. People kind of want to hear the popular tunes, and I make a point when I'm away from home to present that. People will comment like, "Well, all these tunes. Why aren't you playing those?" And it's just like, well, that's kind of an inappropriate time. You want to play Soldier's Joy.
Oh yeah.
I have favorite tunes. Some of them I can get into better than others.
Yeah.
Now, some of them I can get into better than others. As long as I can hear the measure and the beat, and I like a fiddler that passes his foot, because if I get off time, I can always look out of the corner of my eye and see his foot.
Hey, Lou.
So, but I have two favorite tunes that I like. And Old Joe Clark's my favorite, and The Lost Indian. Now, I like those two tunes better than any tune that I ever heard, that I ever danced to and played and called a square dance to. But I like the old time tunes, like The Soldier's Joy and The Mississippi Sawyer, and because I recognize those tunes, and Boil Them Cabbage Down, and when they're playing that, I know what's coming next, you see. I know what's coming next. And if it's a tune that I don't recognize, and if you go over to Cliff Top and call a square dance, you'll get into a lot of that over there. and I'll listen till I get to measure the music, and then the rest of it, I don't worry about that. I just pat my foot and call dances. So, okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask, hey Lou, do you have a preference for what key the musicians play in? I've heard some callers.
Well, yeah, I have a preference, but it took me a long time to learn to call any key, but A is my favorite key to call in, and that's the one they play Old Joe Clark in. But I can do just as well in D, where they play the Lost Indian. Yeah. So, and I don't know much about keys. I just know what feels good when I'm calling. You see. Well, I used to pick a banjo, but I'm not a musician. I gave it up years ago, and because I had more fun dancing than I did picking. But anyway.
Here's another one.
Lou, oh,
Go ahead.
how'd you learn to dance?
How did I learn to dance?
Yeah.
That's a long story. I'm going to tell you, I learned to dance as a young teenager. And I really liked cowboy. I called it cowboy music. And, every Saturday we went to the movies, and they always had them singing cowboys and played them guitars. And I liked that cowboy music, and I always wanted to learn to play guitar. But anyway, I got interested in dancing as a young teenager in high school. because, you know, it didn't take me long to find out that, man, if you could dance, you didn't have any trouble getting a girl.
And a guitar. Right behind you there. What did you
If you could dance, you know, you was one lick up on them, I can tell you that. Anyway, I learned to dance as a young teenager, and I did the modern dance back then was the jitterbug, and the jitterbug and the two-step. And I probably taught half of the boys in high school that I run around with to dance, you see. I always learned to dance the boys' part, the girls' part, and so that I could dance the girls' part while I was teaching them. But anyway, that's how I got interested in dancing. And then that went along for a few years, and then one time, of course, here again, I always liked the you know, the old time, the fiddle and the string band music. And growing up, my brothers and sisters, they were taking piano lessons because my dad, he felt like that music was good for their social culture, and so they were taking piano lessons. And I had a finger cut off, so that kind of ended the piano business. And I wanted to learn to play guitar, but back then there wasn't anybody that gave guitar lessons around home. But anyway, one time I made a trip to Pocahontas County with my dad. Now my dad was, when he first came to this country, that's where he settled, in Pocahontas County. But he had a friend up there that had a son, and I friended up with him. And they owned some land back on the head of Williams River, and we went hunting back there one day. Well, there was a fellow back there named Carpenter, and anybody that's ever knows anything about fiddling and banjo picking, you know, it involves the Carpenters and the Hammonds, as you know, from over in Pocahontas County. Well, I knew all those people, but anyway, I got acquainted with Dan, and Dan played the clawhammer banjo, and he was an old-time flatfoot dancer. And his brother Hamp was a good dancer, and he played the fiddle too. And that's where I got interested in the old style of flatfoot dancing. And that's actually where I got started. And I just kind of, you know, I could keep time, and I was a good jitterbug dancer, and I just kind of developed my own step for string music, and that's how I got started. And most of the style I dance is a style that I kind of developed myself, and some I learned from watching other people, those old time dancers. But I believe I was 20 years old then. And that's where I got interested in clawhammer banjo, and I bought me a banjo and started learning to play it. But that's how I got started, and that's how I learned to dance.
Can we get Lou to do a little bit of dancing?
Go for it, Lou.
You stay on that board. You have to stay on that board. I'll dance a little bit.
Here, what if I roll up the carpet?
No, I'll join on. I'll be all right. If I fall off of it, I'll get on the carpet.
Okay, I'm gonna stand next to you. Okay.